I just got my hands on the new Samsung S23 phones and I'm a believer. I think we can just get rid of the camera bump altogether. Overall this year, there's just a more unified design between all three models. They all got rid of the camera bump and they just look like they belong in a family together. There were some other hardware changes, the kind of things you'd expect, like they all use the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor and the materials have been upgraded, so there's a little more durability. They come with Gorilla Glass Victus 2 now, and they all have that aluminum frame, so generally really sleek, really durable feeling devices. And battery life has, in theory, improved, which is a good thing. Battery life on the S22 series wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a strength either. Broadly, the differentiators between the three models are the same as they were last year, including, at least in the US, the price. So the S23 starts at $799, S23 Plus starts at $999, and the Ultra goes for $1199. So let's start with the S23 Ultra. The big story here is the 200 megapixel main camera sensor. And the thing to know is that most of the time you're not going to be getting 200 megapixel images. That would be ridiculous. You'd fill up your storage really fast. So what it's doing is binning 16 pixels together to mimic the effect of a bigger pixel, which is better for light sensitivity. So what you really get is a 12 megapixel file. But you can, if you want, shoot 50 or even 200 megapixels and then blow it up and put it on your wall, because we're all doing that. So the rest of the cameras are pretty much the same as last year. There's the 3x telephoto, the 10x telephoto zoom, the ultra wide, and altogether it's a really strong camera system. We really like the portrait mode in the S22 series, so we're excited to test it and see what's new here. On the flip side, the screen has been reshaped just a little bit. The sides aren't quite as dramatically curved, which is good when you're using the S Pen because you don't want to just keep running it off the edge. The battery is still the same size, but Samsung says that battery performance is a little better. That's down to the new processor and some different materials in the display that are a little more battery efficient, or so they say. In some good news, the base storage has been boosted up to 256 gigabytes, so you get twice the storage for the same price. So far, I can tell you that everything that made the S22 Ultra the kitchen sink of phones is still true in the S23 Ultra. You have the huge display, fast refresh rate, S Pen, what is likely a very good camera system. It's everything you could kind of want from a slab style phone. Let's talk about the S23 Plus and the S23. There's an upgraded selfie camera. They're now 12 megapixels as opposed to 10 megapixels, still has autofocus. It's actually the same selfie camera across the entire line. The Ultra dropped from 40 megapixels down to that 12 megapixels. The S23 and S23 Plus have bigger batteries this year. They're each 200 extra milliamp hours, so the S23 Plus is at 4,700 milliamp hours, and the S23 is at 3,900. The S23 screen gets a little brighter now, too. It now reaches a peak brightness of 1,750 nits, which matches the other two phones in the series. The S23 Plus gets that base storage upgrade too, to 256 gigabytes, but the S23 is still stuck at 128 gigabytes. Friendly reminder, you get what you get as far as storage because the micro SD slot went away a couple years ago and that ain't coming back. Camera bump aside, the biggest impression I got from using these phones for a little while is that Samsung is making an effort to unify the S series. They all just look like they belong together, and that wasn't the case with last year's models. The color options are the same, and the camera design is the same. I think it's a great change, even though there's a pessimist inside me that's wondering if this is a step towards condensing the S series so that Samsung can expand the foldable Z series later. But that's another video, that's another galaxy, another time. For now, the one in front of us is looking pretty promising. I'm really curious to know what you all think of the camera bump. Is it terrible? Should we abolish it? Should we keep it? I know what I think, but let me know what you think in the comments.